How do you find the right influence for your brand or your marketing campaign? Would you like to learn how Prevail Marketing does it? The techniques and strategy that we have used to make sure that our clients have the right influencer for the right marketing campaign that will really resonate with their targeted personas? Well, stick around. We're going to share that with you today. Hello, my name is Bill Arnold. I'm president of Prevail Marketing, and every day, we give you a video with ideas and concepts, strategies, techniques, ways to grow your business through better sales and marketing. These are ideas, you could say, and concepts that have been decades in the making because we've got decades and decades of experience. But the ideas we're sharing are not old ones, are not tired ones. They're ones we used recently, this year, or maybe late last year. Ones we know work that will make a difference in your business. So if that's something that's interesting to you, if you find this of value, we just ask one thing. Please like and please subscribe wherever you're at, or follow if that's the case may be. The reason we ask that is not because we want to become great influencers and prestigious influencers. We just want to know what's resonating with you and where. We want to understand what platform is doing the best and it's going so we can give you the best information and the best content to help you grow your business. So with that, let's get started. Over the past 4 or 5 days, we've been talking about influencer marketing. Why? Because it's one of the most impactful ways you're going to grow your business. You leverage the time, energy, talent, effort, and reputation and reach of another party to help grow your business. It works. And so over the last few days, we've talked about what an influencer might be. And it's different than what you might think. It's different than what it was in 2019 because 2020 changed the world. Why it works, we talked about behavioral science and why it works. There's a science behind it. It's just not arbitrary. There are laws of influence that are at play, and you need to understand them. We've actually given you campaign strategies, 7 of them, I believe, that we've used last year that were amazing results for our clients. It changed their stars. It literally changed their stars of their business. We gave them to you. We also told you the metrics that you need to follow, the things you need to look at to evaluate not only new influencers, but current influencers, whether they're actually performing for you. Let's see if I can remember the 5 because it's been 24 hours and hey, it's been a long day. It's reach, relevance, resonance, reputation, and what's the 5th one? It's always results. Always results. You got to look at results, otherwise nothing else matters. So today we're going to go through the process that Prevail Marketing used. And someone asked me the other day, how do you find an influencer? I looked around. I said I could pick up a stone, throw it at any distance in any direction, and hit an influencer. I'm in LA. I think it's a requirement actually that you have to be an influencer if you live in LA. I don't think they let you live in the city or the county. I don't know, but I've yet to meet someone who doesn't perceive themselves as an influencer. And the reality is, we're all are influencers. It's just the degree and the reach, that's all, but we all influence people. The other step is to understand your buyer personas. Why? Well, your buyer personas go for information, education, entertainment, what social channels they use. Because you need to pick an influencer who not only can resonate with that particular group of buyer personas and communicate them on the way they want to be communicated, but lives and works on that channel. If they only live and work on LinkedIn and your people are on TikTok, it's wasted resources, wasted time, wasted money, wasted effort. So you need to understand your buyer personas, number 1. That's the first step in starting our process. If you don't understand who your buyer personas are, first off, shame on you. I'm seriously. That's number 1 thing every business needs to understand. We got 2 videos and 2 blogs on how to develop your buyer personas. Quit watching this right now. Shut it down. Go watch those first. Build those, and then come back and look at this because you're not ready for what we're about to show you with you. Just aren't. We tell people, obviously, you got to look at the 5 R's. That's why we brought them up yesterday to help you narrow down potential candidates. Okay, but what do you do? How do you, there's all sorts of influencers out there. How do you start even that process? Some of you are going to say, look, I know an agency. I go online. I can find, there's lots of organizations that will already done the vetting for me. They already found influencers and they can tell me all this great information. They've already negotiated the terms and conditions of what the cost is going to be. They can show you the reputation, reach, relevance, resonance, and results for all the people. And all you got to do is go there. Sounds great. That's problem solved, right? Well, no, not if you want to save money because they usually pull a 20 to 30% cut, meaning that you're getting less bang for your buck. 20 to 30% is just their fee. And so if you really want to save money, if you really want to make sure you've actually got not just who they can offer, but the very best of the best, you're going to want to do this yourself. To go that route, simply go to Google, type in influencers, and the vertical that you're in. So if you're in fashion, type in influencers fashion. If you're in B2B SaaS, influence B2B SaaS. You'll find a number of agencies connect with the people in their stable, but you're also going to find people who will list themselves out. So what you do is you go to all these different channels. You go to LinkedIn, you go to YouTube, you go to the channels that you know your buyer persona resides on, and you search hashtags. You search the names of people, and you get a list of potential influencers along with their reach, relevance, and resonance. You start accumulating those names in a spreadsheet. For each channel, you have their name, the class of influencer. What do I mean by class of influence? Are they subject matter influencers, micro influencers, mid-tier influencers? What the handle go by? What is their reach? What are the number of people that are followers? What is the frequency of their post? If they got a lot of followers but only post once every 2 weeks, it's less effective. The percent on topic. This is key. This is relevance. Why? I mentioned to you yesterday that Kim Kardashian has a huge reach. Oh my God, it's a massive reach. But only 37% of her posts are on fashion. So if you're trying to get it for fashion, I can talk, watch, stick around. If you're trying to get it for fashion, you got to realize that her reach may be up here, but her relevance is down here because only 37% are on topic. The average number of likes, the average number of shares, the average number of comments every post gets. You start documenting this for every single platform. LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, Threads, Blue Sky, I can go on, Clapper, all of them. You start documenting it based on this and you start figuring out where they go. Populate this list. First and foremost, again, to populate this list, do a Google search, business vertical and niche. Here's what I typically do. I'll put in let's say it's fashion. I'll put in fashion. I'll put in fashion speakers, fashion influencers, fashion experts. So I gather a lot of people from Google. You're going to get a long list. I look at interesting conferences. Who's speaking at these conferences? Unless it's a large, prestigious conference where you've got Elon Musk, you're going to find a lot of micro-influencers. People are trying to make a name for themselves. A lot of subject matter influencers. They may not be your primary influence, but they're good to cultivate and amplify. They may be just an amplification you use them for at the end of the day. Do a hashtag search. Use hashtag with your vertical niche. I mean, it might be, again, fashion. Hashtag fashion, hashtag whatever it might be. Find other relevant influencer candidates. Check hashtags that they're using. All the influencers that you've identified, see what hashtags they're using and use them as well. You're going to come up with a lot of people who can amplify. A lot of mid-tier, a lot of micro and macro influencers. And again, they may not be the ones who are carrying the water as the first thing, but they may be a lot of them you use for amplification. Check your own CRM. Check your own databases. You're going to find that a lot of your customers, a lot of your contacts are already influencers, and you already have a reputation and relationship with them. So once you got that list, once you put all that together on a spreadsheet, you need to start prioritizing them. Which are the most important? Sort by category. What do I mean by that? Subject matter influencers, micro influencers, mid-tier influencers, mega influencers, if you're talking about them. Each should be put in sequence. So you understand you're comparing apples with apples. You don't want to be comparing a subject matter influencer with a mid-tier influencer. It's just not going to compare. And you're not going to speak the same cost, the same reach, the same relevance. It's not going to be the same. Then you start ranking them by the R's. Sort that list first by reach, likes, and shares. So you start with the reach. How many people are following them? How many people are liking them? How many people are sharing them? And you're going to start seeing a sorting out. You're going to start seeing, okay, this person's got a huge reach, but these two are pretty much comparable to reach, but one has much more resonance. They have much more, people are paying attention, people are engaged with them. People are liking, sharing, commenting to a much greater extent. They're going to be more impactful. You're going to start seeing this list start to narrow down in a nice, orderly fashion. Who's on top, and it keeps going down. And you're going to start segmenting these, not only by subject matter and macro and mid-tier, but who can be your primary influencers, the one to carry the water initially? Who are going to be the ones that amplify it, that just extend it? You're going to treat them differently, but you want to have these kind of layers built out. Once I get this list defined, I start, and I mean, this is where the hard work comes in. I got a long list of maybe 100 names on this list. And I'm not exaggerating. We've had one last year, it was 532 names on the list. Huge. But you need to start narrowing this down. We'll start with reputation and other factors you need to look at. So before you seek to engage and make sure you know exactly what they bring to the table, pick a workable list, start with 10 in each section, and do a deep dive evaluation. Examine the post for the previous year. The whole year back you go. Look at the percent of posts that are on topic. Look at the frequency of posting. Check the tone of their posts. Have they engaged in negative comments, controversial, social media wars with other people? You have to understand who you're dealing with, what they bring to the table. Check their username and handle. See how they're being talked about in their community. I know an influencer in one industry that, he's got more detractors than he's got a lot of followers, but most of them are detractors. Most of them have negative influence on what he does. So is that the person you want to use? Of course not. So you got to search their handle, search their comments, figure out, do they have a good reputation? You always find trolls and detractors. They're always in every industry, but the vast amount of feedback should be positive. Google search their name. Search their name and see what arises. Do you want to align yourself with hey, a problem? There, let's say Kanye West. I can't speak today. Kanye West. He's got tremendous reach, got tremendous influence. He's also has a lot of negative attributes that are associated with him. So you want to make sure you do this search. You want to know who you're dealing with. So once you figure out how much they're on post, how much is on if they're on topic, and their reputation, now that list is going to become smaller. And then you want to start cultivating these influencers, because just reaching out to them, a cold reach out, most of them are just going to ignore you. Okay, unless you're a major brand, they're really not going to pay much attention to you. I tell people there's always a process I use. It takes about 6 weeks or 4 to 6 weeks, but it builds that reputation, that relationship. So when I do reach out to them, we have a comfortable basis to start from. I follow and like. I follow them and I like just about everything they do. Don't do it every post, but do a meaningful effort so they know that you stand out. I'll give an example of what happened yesterday with me. I post every day. I post blogs, I post videos, and I post them on various social media platforms. On LinkedIn, I had someone who's liked a few of my posts and then took the effort to comment and ask me a question. Of course, if you ask a question, you always hit the ball back, right? I hit the ball back. And then they responded, "Great answer. I appreciate this. Maybe we ought to talk and see if we can have we can work together in some form or fashion." That's a great way of doing it. It wasn't a cold. I mean, if he would have just slid into my LinkedIn and said, "Hey, let's work together," I probably would have blown him off. But because he took the time and effort to build a little bit of reputation with me, a little bit of relevance with me, I now have a law of reciprocity. I've kind of got to hear him out at this point. So follow and like, then you start commenting and sharing. After a few weeks, start to comment like this guy did, share the post, and always add a meaningful commentary like this guy did to me. Ask them a question. Ask them to hit the ball back to you. Share their content. After 3 or 4 weeks of commenting and sharing, you're going to start seeing and engage with that influencer. And then you do what this guy did for me. He did not send me something saying, "Here's some sales material, or here's how I can benefit you." He said, "Hey, maybe we can meet to see if there's a way we could collaborate together." Wow, that's kind of open-ended, but it's the way to approach somebody. You don't try to sell me, "Oh, I got their attention, buy me from me. Use my service." No. "Hey, is there maybe we can collaborate, see if we can benefit each other. Let's have a mutual exploration." That's how you approach them. If you have a product and you start really going back and forth, I tell my clients, send a sample of the product to them. "Hey, I'd like to get your feel for it. I'd like to get your impression. I'd like to get your idea." I get that provided all the time. I get people send me, "Hey, I've had this in the past month. I've had 4 or 5 people say, 'I'd like to give you a license to my product. Only thing I'd like to get back from you is feedback.'" Do I always do it? No. Do I do it most of the time? Probably. If it's relevant to what I do, yes. Or if it's something that piques my curiosity, yes. I'll test it out and I'll give them feedback. The law of reciprocity requires I do, right? I can't break that law. So give them access to the product. Once you get past that stage, by now you've had a lot of communication back and forth. You probably had a video meeting. You probably had a phone call. You probably have several emails go back and forth. Once you've gone that, after they will consider an influencer market proposal, ask, "Hey, look, you know what? I really respect your brand. I really respect how you present yourself to your audience. I think we have a lot of relevance that we can do together, a lot of things we can benefit from each other. Would you be willing to take a look at an influencer market proposal from us?" Do not send that proposal out without getting permission. This is an important step. Why? it invokes the law of commitment and consistency. People, if they say yes, send it, they are actually going to look at it and deal with it because they've got to be consistent. They committed to it, they now have to be consistent with their prior actions. So get that upfront buy-in. I've even gone so far to, if I knew someone, let's say they're at a local conference in LA, a lot of B2B, a lot of marketing conferences, a lot of conferences in LA. Easy to do. I'll even actually attend the conference. Or I've actually invited them to the conference and paid their way. It's a great way to make connection with people, particularly if the conference is not too expensive. So this is how we identify the right influencers for our clients. We go through this process. If you want to see what the form looks like, go to prevailmarketing.com. Go to this blog I put out today, which is it's called How to Find the Right Influencer, and you'll see a screenshot of it. Simple as that. You're gonna have to work a little bit to get it, okay? But how much do you pay for influencers? That's always a question. You know, I always tell people, well, you pay them what they're worth if you want to get them to do the right thing. But let's break it down even more. We've not only hired influencers, we've represented influencers. So I know that one thing's for certain. There is no fixed cost on hiring an influencer. A lot has to do with the project, their interest, what it can do. I've seen projects where it has intangibles for that influencer that, you know what, it isn't the money so much, it's what that project can do for their reputation. It's always based on the 5 R's. How much it's worth is going to be based upon those 5 R's. The niche you're in, whether it's long-form or short-term influencing content you're going to have them create, whether you're creating, they're creating it, you have them attend a conference, all this factors in. I see influencers get paid to go to foreign countries to speak or participate in conferences. They get paid, they bring their wives or girlfriends, they get paid, they go first class, plus they get revenue to go there. It works that way. But if you're just asking them to post something on Instagram or Twitter, maybe, comments or maybe make a 30-second or 40-second video about it, I'm going to share with you the rate card that I haven't put together that WebFX and GitHype reported back in 2022, and it's close. It's close. I mean, I've seen, I've kind of calculated the numbers, and I thought it's in the ballpark anyhow. It's a good starting point. That's the best way I can put it. Instagram is $20 per 1,000 followers. For YouTube, it's $25 per 1,000 followers. For TikTok, it's $5 per 1,000 followers. Elon, I'm really sorry here. On X, $2 per 1,000 followers. You guys got to get working on that one. Snapchat, $10 per 1,000 followers. And Facebook, back up to $25 per 1,000 followers. Those numbers, and when I calculate them out for large things, they tend to be accurate, or at least in the ballpark. A good starting point to talk to people, okay, to let you know whether you can begin to afford that. If you know those numbers again, go to my website, you'll find them. The reality is, though, a lot of nano, micro, and macro influencers will share your content for swag or simply recognition of the brand. Mid-tier and macro influencers will share content for samples of the product, okay? Subject matter influencers, you're going to have to pay for, okay? But sometimes they will, I've actually seen some get $50 per 1,000 subscribers. Yes, $50. They tend to be, depending on the industry, depending on the reputation and how much and the reach and the relevance and resonance, all those things, they get $50 per 1,000 subscribers. That much. So with this information, here's what I suggest you do. Start out small. Don't, just take a project. And remember that, if you've never done this before, sometimes it's better to hire someone who's done it than waste all your time, effort, and money trying to do it yourself, and then you can learn to do it yourself. We do that a lot for clients. We teach them how to do it. We don't say, hey, look, we're going to do this forever for you. We're going to do this for a quarter for you. We're going to walk you through this. We're going to identify all these people for you. We're going to help you negotiate. We're going to help you collaborate. We're going to help you bring in the right people, make sure they're doing the right things, they're giving them the right kind of messaging, the right kind of branding, the right kind of content. The influencers doing the right things, because that's the other thing you got to do, influencers. You have to guide them. Tell them what you need. Don't just say, do something for me. You want to make sure that they do the right thing based on what the buyer personas need to hear and see at each stage of that buyer's journey. So you have to guide them, help them prepare not necessarily the content, but the theme of the content. So if you haven't done it yourself, I suggest you get someone who has done it Make your job easier. Once you learn it, you could do it yourself. You don't need an agency. Shouldn't say that, should I? But you don't. So anyhow, if any of this has been valuable to you, please like, please follow, please subscribe. And if you need help, hey, we're a phone call away. Have a great night.